Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to whatever it is this is. This podcast, this sacred space, this chance to sit and connect with you. I'm assuming maybe by the time you hear this, it'll be a little bit more cohesive and I'll have like a name that sticks and, branding and stuff. But as of right now, we're just flying by the seat of our pants. So, first of all, today at work, I work in a book warehouse as my little part-time day job, and we have these metal carts, and I was pulling two of them, as I do a lot, and one of them hit the back of my ankle, and oh my god, I've never felt such pain in my life, and it is so swollen. I can't. It's comical. It's like blue. It's insane. And it looks like I now have a cankle, officially. It's fine. Like, no, it didn't break skin or anything, which is hilarious because, like, if you know me, you would know that previous week, I stepped on a nail and had to get a tetanus shot. So if it broke skin, I would have been fine because I had a tetanus shot a week ago. Oh man, that's a whole other conversation on alignment. I find that if I'm in jobs that aren't very aligned, stuff like this happens. Not that I'm being punished in the job, but just my attention and focus and capacity to take care of myself goes down. And so accidents happen like this. It's not the first job. This has happened many times. And I'm trying to get out of it. So we'll see how that goes. But that's neither here nor there. That's me just looking down at my ankle and giving you the update. So, man, what a day. But what I really wanted to come on here to talk to you about is something that's a little fresh on my heart. Yesterday, I was not having a good health day, and when I don't have a good health day, I don't have a good brain day. And then also, I end up in bed a lot, and when I'm in bed a lot, I'm on my phone a lot. So you can already see where this is kind of like leading to, that it was not a great day. And I find when I get into those kind of spirals, when I get into this space where I just do not feel good, and I am hyper focusing on other people's lives, I get really self-conscious about specifically whether I have the right to call myself anything. I think about something like this podcast, or classes that I want to teach, or books that I want to write, or, me on social media, just anything about me as teacher, or me as witch, or me as authority. Any circumstance where that pops up, I get really self-conscious that I don't actually deserve to be there. And so this is something that I've seen in a lot of people that are going through dark nights of the soul, especially when it comes to religion and religious practices, right? Can I still call myself a witch even when I'm not practicing right now? Can I call myself a teacher when I'm not teaching right now? Can I, how am I able to hold that title? And I'm definitely doing this as a weapon against myself of I can't record this podcast because I'm not technically a teacher. I'm not technically a witch. It feels hypocritical that I'm not doing any rituals, and yet here I am using the word as a title and teaching underneath it, right? It's really this self-demeaning thing that I think actually a lot of us go through. I use it in the context of witch, but I think a lot of us go through it in many regards because we feel like we're going to get found out, or we feel like we're going to get called on stuff. And I think when it comes to witch specifically, right now, there is this added pressure to perform witch. Am I still a witch if I don't do full moon rituals? If I don't post about my bath that I took the other day? Am I still a witch if I am not going and buying things from metaphysical shops? Am I still a witch if I haven't sat at my altar in months? You know, honey, darling, sweetheart, you are still a witch if you identify as a witch. And I don't know, it feels almost silly to say it out loud because I'm in a relatively good mood now, right? But in the moment, it felt so like, oh, I don't have this title that feels so sacred to me. What ground do I have to stand on if I'm not a witch? I've built so much of my identity and my life around this. Like how could I? How could I let this go? So, it's easy to look back on that with just like, oh, that's a silly thought. But I think when we're in our moments of tough times and feeling incredibly lost, especially if we're going through things like ego death, and especially if we're going through things like loss of self, it's so easy to get caught up in like, well, am I? Do I have the credentials to call myself that? Now, this does not mean, you shouldn't go and question your practice. One of the big things that I'm questioning right now, excuse me, is what my practice should look like moving forward, specifically in regards to appropriation and getting and decolonizing my work. I'm having a really big push to de-Wiccanize my practice, which I can go into more detail in another episode. But I'm really wanting to kind of question everything that I was taught as a rule. So just because I'm questioning it doesn't mean I'm not a witch. Just because I'm not sitting at my altar every day doesn't mean I'm a witch. I feel like it's so easy in the current context of like witches on social media to compare to people who are, I'm not saying that they're only doing it performatively. People who post their ritual baths are probably having a dope ass ritual bath. Or people who, do a lot of magical things and post about it. You don't know the background of that. I know a lot of people use social media as an accountability thing. Like, oh, I will only do this ritual, or I will only go to this tree and say hello if I post it on social media, so they can use it as a tool. Some people are just being performative, because it is aesthetic and it is, a thing right now. Some people are doing it because they can, which is amazing because it is popular and the language is easily available right now. But when looking at that from, the depths of the darkness, it's so easy to compare your own lack of magic, so to speak, with the magic, the performative or visible magic of others. I guess I just wanted to say today that do not let that be true in your head. I understand how that is really just trying to cut yourself down or to shrink when you want to be big. There is something really, excuse me, man. There is something really powerful in identifying with the word witch, because it does force you to step into your power and into your size and into your whole being. And that's a really hard thing to do when you're feeling so lost. But yeah, what I really just wanted to come on here and say is like, yes, the term witch is a practice-based like word by definition. To be a witch is to practice witchcraft. But multiple things. Witchcraft looks different for everyone. We all go through seasons. We go through summers, we go through winters, we go through fall, we go through spring. And you are still a witch even in the middle of winter. You are still a witch even if it's the hottest day in the summer. You are still a witch even if your winter lasts many years. I think what matters the most in this circumstance is your own connection to that identity and your own attempt to connect to magic. Some days it's like literally just taking a moment and breathing outside Like taking a deep breath in and just being like, oh, the wind feels nice. It's so, that's magic. That's a magical practice. And it's so easy to compare that to someone that has a full altar set up and candles and energy and time and bathtubs. Okay, look, I'm really not going to try and rag on baths. I'm just not a bath person. It usually is the thing that comes up when I talk about like the commodification of self-care, but I will try not to be mean to baths. I understand them. But it's so easy to compare to other people's external practices and then internalize that and feel as if you are being a poser or you're not being real enough or you're not being witchy enough. You are. You are a witch if you say you're a witch. I think that's what actually is really powerful about paganism. Well, they're not the same thing, but that's what's powerful about this spiritual practice is that really it's about embodying power and control and choice and justice and wholeness, right? And so if that is what you're seeking, even in your darkest of days, even when from the outside it looks like a finger has not been lifted in a magical way, you are still a witch. I am still a witch. Just because I'm in a dark time right now where I've been staying very silent doesn't mean I've negated all of the research and conversations and experiences that I've had that make me want to be an educator. It's still there. I'm just in a winter, And it's so hard for me to remember that. Or it's so hard for me to be okay with that. At the end of the day, it's still an identity of mine. And if the day comes where that no longer fits, that's okay too. But as of right now, it does. And I'm trying to take the steps to get the blood flow back in it, like it's a limb that's fallen asleep. My witchcraft limb. It's fallen asleep and it's going to be tingly and kind of painful for a while, but then I will have full use again. And I really look forward to that time. So, all right, lovelies. Thanks for stopping in for this one. I always love chatting with you, and I hope you have a lovely day. If you have any questions or have any questions you want to ask of me that I can answer on this podcast, you're welcome to email me at lightbringerrituals@gmail.com. Or check me out on Instagram. My screen name is what is this, the 90s? You can find me on Instagram at lightbringerrituals as well. And other than that, I think that's all I have for you. I'll see you next time.